Session 3. I think it's going well, so we will, let's pray, then we'll review a little bit and get started. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this evening. Thank you for everybody to be able to make it, for the safety of being able to get here. Lord, help us to learn, to grow, to understand your word more as we study to show ourselves approved, and help us to be workmen so we can rightly divide your word. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so let's see, Bible memory, Coach. Bible memory, first week was Psalm 119:11. Anybody have that? Right.
Thy word have I hid in my heart that I might not sin against thee.
Yep, I hid in mine heart, right? That I might not sin against thee. Psalm 119:11. The next week was what?
Proverbs 4:23.
What is that, Coach?
Keep thine heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life.
Amen. So Proverbs 4:23. And then coming up, is it Proverbs 15:1?
Yes.
Anybody have that one yet? Tracy.
Soft answer to the way bread.
But grievous words stir up anger.
Stir up.
That's right. So Proverbs 15:1, a soft answer. And so what I did was, we'll just keep, every class will have 5 of those. So by the end, you have 60 verses memorized. You know, if you went through all of the Solid Rock Bible Institute classes. Bible reading, by this point we should be Genesis 1 through 14, Ezra 1 through 12, and some in Nehemiah, and then Ezekiel 1 through 14. So that's to be on pace. And you can always catch up on that. So just by the end, you have to have those chapters read. And so, ask the question at the beginning. Anybody know what this is? A carving, a relief of? This was done 700 years before Christ. It's like a hieroglyphic type thing. Anybody know what that represents? Tell me what you think.
There's a king bowing down to pay tribute.
Yeah, you're right. I know that.
I think it had it in the geography book.
Man, that is a king bowing down right there. So this guy right here is a king. So we'll talk about what king. Anybody know what king that would be?
Nebuchadnezzar.
That's not Nebuchadnezzar. Who is this guy right there? We'll talk about it. We'll get there. That's pretty good stuff. All right. So what I'm doing is using the Bible, the books of the Bible, as kind of just our outline for going through. And now going like in 1 Samuel, just picking out a place or two that are important in that book, just so we kind of build on the stuff we already know. So there's less and less as we go on, but it builds. So what I want to look at is 1 Samuel 11. When Saul was going to be made king, the Bible says that we'll read through this in 1 Samuel 11. Then Nahash the Ammonite. If you're an Ammonite, where are you from? Ammon. Remember, Ammon's right over here. What's below Ammon? Moab, and what's below that? Edom. So these are like Edom, Moab, Ammon. So when we read the Ammonite, we know, okay, it's on the other side of the Jordan River over here. So Nahash the Ammonite came up and encamped against Jabesh Gilead. That word Gilead, where's Gilead at? Yeah, it's just over in this area, on the other side of the Jordan River. So Gilead, so Jabesh Gilead is a place like Hutchinson, Kansas. Jabesh Gilead would be Jabesh, it's in the land of Gilead. And all the men of Jabesh said unto Nahash, make a covenant with us and we will serve thee. So these are Israelites saying to the Ammonite, hey, we'll serve you. Now should the Israelites be serving some foreign? They shouldn't be. And Nahash the Ammonite answered them, on this condition will I make a covenant with you, that I may thrust out all your right eyes and lay it for a reproach upon Israel. So yeah, I'll make a covenant if I can take every one of your right eyes. Cole, you think you want to do that? Give a guy your right eye. So that's Jabesh Gilead right here. That's what we're looking at. We're not going to have to know the whole bit, that's where it's at. And the elders of Jabesh said unto him, so Colby said no. Well, let's see what they said. They said, give us 7 days respite. So a little 7 days of rest to think about it, that we may send messengers unto all the coast of Israel. And then if there be no man to save us, we'll come out to thee. So basically, give us 7 days, and if no one helps us, yeah, you can have our right eyes. So you can take our right eye.
I wouldn't even do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that either.
You got my eye.
Yeah, it's better than nothing. So he said, if there be no man to save us, we'll come out to thee. So then came the messengers to Gibeah of Saul. So they sent messengers to Gibeah. Now you can see in the Bible a lot Gibeah of Saul. That was where Saul was from, was Gibeah. So pretty close to Jerusalem right here. Okay, so to Gibeah. And they told the tidings in the ears of the people. All the people lifted up their voices and wept. They're like, no, this is terrible. Give your right eyes. So there's Gibeah. Okay, and behold, Saul came after the herd out of the field, and Saul said, what aileth the people that they weep? And they told him the tidings of the men of Jabesh. And the Spirit of God came upon Saul when he heard those things, and his anger was kindled greatly. So is this a good anger?
Yes.
Yeah, this is a righteous, godly anger. So this is the time Saul was a godly man. He's like, this is terrible. Kind of like when David saw Goliath, and his anger was kindled. Like, if there's a cause, why are we bowing down? Why are we not fighting Goliath? So Saul's anger was kindled. And again, they told him the tidings of the news of the men of Jabesh. And he took a yoke of oxen and hewed them in pieces and sent them throughout all the coasts of Israel by the hands of messengers, saying, whosoever cometh not forth after Saul and after Samuel, so shall it be done unto his oxen. So basically, you come and fight with me, I'm going to slay your oxen. Whosoever, okay. And the fear of the Lord fell on the people, and they came out with one consent, and when he numbered them in Bezek. So he went up, he said, meet over here. Why would he go to Bezek instead of staying in Gibeon? It's closer to what? Jabesh. So now, he probably said, let's assemble here, we'll count everybody, then we can go over here. So they came, he numbered them in Bezek, and the children of Israel were 300,000, and the men of Judah 30,000. So they went up to Bezek. And they said unto the messengers that came, thus shall ye say unto the men of Jabesh Gilead, tomorrow by the time that the sun be hot, so about noon or something, ye shall have help. And the messenger came and showed it to the men of Jabesh, and they were glad. Why were they glad, Kai? They didn't have to have the right eye. Yeah, that's right. They didn't have to have the right eye thrust out, so they were glad. So therefore the men of Jabesh said, tomorrow will come out unto you, and ye shall do with us all that seemeth good unto you. So they told the Ammonite, hey, tomorrow we'll come out, and then we'll see what happens. So then we're back in Jabesh Gilead. And it was so on the morrow that Saul put the people in 3 companies. They came into the midst of the host in the morning watch, and they slew the Ammonites until the heat of the day. And it came to pass that they which remained were scattered, so that 2 of them were not left together. And the people said unto Samuel, who is he that said, shall Saul reign over us? Bring them in, that we may put them to death. So there were people that didn't want Saul to reign over them. And so they're like, Saul has proved himself today. He had a great victory. So let's kill all the people that didn't want Saul. And Saul said, there shall not be a man be put to death this day. For today the Lord hath brought salvation in Israel. So Saul is giving credit to who? God. And he's like, nobody's going to die just because they didn't want me as king. Then said Samuel to the people, come, let us go to Gilgal and renew the kingdom there. And all the people went to Gilgal. And there they made Saul king before the Lord in Gilgal. And there they sacrifices of peace offering before the Lord. And there Saul and all the men of Israel rejoiced greatly. So this is the way I think the only thing we're adding is Gilgal. That's an important town. That's the first, so that's where they made Saul king, was in Gilgal. Anybody else know anything else that happened at Gilgal? When the children of Israel first crossed over the Jordan River with Joshua, before they fought the battle of Jericho, they went to Gilgal. What did they do there?
Passover.
They did the Passover, and they were circumcised. So Gilgal is where they first went, the first place they went in the promised land. It's the first place that Saul was anointed king. It's the last place when Elijah, before he went up to heaven, he went to Gilgal and crossed over the Jordan River. So Gilgal's seen a few places. So I think it's an important place to know where Gilgal's at. It's the first place they crossed over that Joshua and they did before they fought the battle of Jericho. So that is the one Gilgal right there. All right, so some of these are review. What is this body of water up there? Sea of Galilee. Okay, we talked about Jabesh Gilead here. This is green, so it's a city. What city is that? Gilgal. What's this? Jerusalem. This body of water? It's sea. So the only one we added was Gilgal. And so what I want you to remember is that Saul's rescue. So you think 1 Samuel, we think, okay, Saul was anointed king down in Gilgal. You can kind of go through your mind. He came to Gibeah, organized the troops, fought the battle, came here, anointed him king in Gilgal. So that's the new one there out of 1 Samuel. 2 Samuel. So that was our new town out of 1 Samuel. 2 Samuel, David, he wanted to number. This map's a little bit different, but hopefully we'll get it. He wanted to number all the people. Is this good of David or not? No. This is where even Joab said no. Right? He, notwithstanding the king's word prevailed against Joab, Joab said, no, David, you don't want to number the people. Because it seemed like David was doing it for pride, like, oh, I'm king over 1,000,000 troops or whatever it was. And so this wasn't good what David did, but what it does, we'll see Joab's route that he went, so we'll kind of know what the borders were at the time that David was king. So, notwithstanding the king's word prevailed against Joab and against the captains of the host. So everybody was against David, saying, don't number the people. But Joab and the captains of the host went out from the presence of the king to number the people of Israel. So everybody kind of know where we're at in the Bible? So David's sending out, instead of fighting wars, he has Joab going and doing a census. Joab not too happy about it. All right. So he went out from the presence of the king. So where was King David? What town would he be in? Jerusalem. So he starts in Jerusalem. That's the city of David. We didn't talk about, but Jerusalem was occupied by the Jebusites. And David wanted that town, and so he sent people, and Joab actually went up through a gutter and got in, and they took over it, and they made Jerusalem in the capital, David did. So it started from Jerusalem. And they passed over Jordan and pitched in Aroer on the right side of the city that lieth in the midst of the river of Gad and toward Jazer. So they're in Jerusalem, but they said they passed over. So I drew an arrow to Aroer, but they actually probably go over here, right? Cross over the Jordan River, they come down to Aroer. So this is the first town that they went to on their census. Okay? It was in the midst of the river Gad. River of Gad. Why do you think they call it the river of Gad? Ever heard of the word Gad before? What is Gad? One of the
12 children.
Yeah, one of the 12 children of Joseph. It's one of the 12 tribes. This says Aroer right here. But Gad and Reuben and half the tribe of Manasseh, what do? They stayed on this side. So it makes sense that this is in the land of Gad. Okay? So there's Aroer. So they started down there. And then it says they came to Gilead. Where's Gilead? Right up here. Okay, that area. Okay, probably just that area. Okay, so they came to Gilead. So they went up from Aroer to Gilead. And then they went up to the land of Taphtim Hodshi. I put a question mark beside it because we don't know exactly, but it's somewhere in that area. And then they came to, from there they went to Dan, John, but the city of Dan. And then about to Zidon. So you can see kind of this route they took, going around the perimeter to all these places. And they came to the stronghold of Tyre. So Zidon, they come to Tyre, which is this town up here. And to all the cities of the Hivites and the Canaanites. Here's Canaan, is all this down here. And they went out to the south of Judah, even to Beersheba. They went all the way down there to Beersheba. So these towns kind of show the border of what Israel was at that time. Starting at Aroer, Gilead, Taphtim Hodshi, Dan, Zidon, Tyre, and Beersheba. So if you kind of draw a line here, you kind of see the border of Israel right in that area. So they're on the east side of the Jordan River, and also obviously on the west. Okay, let's see. So the towns that I think are important there, not Aroer, we don't see that a lot. Gilead we've already learned. This we don't even know where it's at. But what is this northernmost town? Dan. That is important to understand Dan. It's a town at the very top. Because many times in the Bible it says from Dan to Beersheba, meaning from top to bottom. So we got Dan, and then what's over here? Zidon. Okay, Zidon, Zidon, and then Tyre. Those are important places in the Bible. They're over here. They're in the land of Phoenicia. The Phoenicians. And so up in Phoenicia here, David was in control of them. Most of the time, these guys are their own country. But when David was in charge, that was part of Israel. So Dan, there's Zidon, Tyre, and they came all the way down south to Beersheba, which we've already learned once. Okay, so those are the kind of new ones there. Dan, Zidon, Tyre, Beersheba we already knew. Make sense? So that just kind of went through and learned some geography through David's numbering. Now we come to 1 Kings. In 1 Kings, towards the middle of the book, we meet a man named Elijah. Elijah, most of the time that he's there, Ahab is king over Israel. Now we just went from David's kingdom to now this, during the time of Ahab. What's different about Israel now? It's two different nations. There's a north and a south. Ahab, where's he at? North or south? North. He's in Israel in the north. Is Israel good or bad? Bad. So Ahab and Jezebel are from the north. Jezebel, in fact, she's from Sidon, I believe. So she's up in this area where we looked at. So she brought a lot of the wicked things down to Ahab. All right, so we're going to look at Elijah, Ahab, and a little bit of Jezebel, but kind of learn some places about that. Now, 1 Kings 16:24. The Bible says, and he, which is speaking of this king named Omri, which is Ahab's dad. So Omri is Ahab's dad. He bought the hill of Samaria, of Shemer, for 2 talents of silver. And he built on the hill, and called the name of the city which he built after the name of Shemer, owner of the hill, Samaria. So like if I bought a hill from Tracy, I call it Traceria. Something like that. That's kind of what it's like. So he named it after Shemer, Shemaria, Samaria. So Ahab's dad bought this hill, and he moved the capital from, I believe, Tirzah to Samaria. And so this is where the capital of the northern kingdom began to be at this time. It's Samaria. Now we hear of Samaria very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. We hear of it in the New Testament.
Yes.
Yes. When?
Jesus went and talked to the woman at the well.
Yep. Yep. So the Samaritans to Samaria. There's a woman at the well. In the Great Commission, or in I think Acts, you go to Judea and all into Samaria and the othermost part of the world. So this was a part that Jesus said to evangelize. So Samaria is important. It began when Omri, Ahab's dad, bought this hill. Okay, so it's right here. There's Jerusalem down there. Pretty close to where we've been. Okay, and Elijah the Tishbite. This verse here is the first verse that Elijah is mentioned. And he's a Tishbite because he's from Tishbe. So you can see where that's at. So it's in the land of Gilead, isn't it? Who was of the inhabitants of Gilead. We see Gilead a lot, so it's good to know where that's at. So Elijah said to Ahab, as the Lord God of Israel liveth before whom I stand, there shall not be dew or rain these years, but according to my words. And how long did it not rain? 3.5 years. So first, Elijah stayed by the brook Cherith. Yeah, a brook right in here. But then, God sent him up to a widow. There's Samaria. There's Tishbe. Elijah's Tishbite. Okay, sent him up to Zarephath, God did. And Jesus talked about this. Jesus, in the first sermon he gave in the synagogue, I believe in Capernaum, somewhere up there, he said, but I tell you of a truth, many widows were in Israel in the days of Elias, that's Elijah, when the heaven was shut up 3 years and 6 months, when great famine was throughout all the land. But unto them, none of them was Elias sent, save unto Sarepta, a city of Sidon, unto a woman that was a widow. And so you see Sarepta is Zarephath, the city of Sidon. We just learned that, didn't we? We learned it as Sidon. What would be below here somewhere? Tyre. Yep. So Tyre's up there. But so Elijah went from the brook Cherith up to Zarephath and stayed with the widow up there. So just kind of seeing where those things are at. And this is Phoenicia. Remember, when David was king, he controlled Phoenicia. But now it's not part of it when Ahab had it. So up there's Sidon and Zarephath. All right. So the place we're going to learn here is Samaria. So Elijah went to show himself unto Ahab, and there was sore famine in Samaria. So after the 3.5 years, okay, Elijah comes back down to Samaria. Who's in Samaria? Ahab. This is where Ahab's at. That's where the capital is. Who bought Samaria? His father. And so he's living there in Samaria with Jezebel. This is the capital of the northern kingdom. And Elijah went down there to show himself. Now here is a picture of Samaria now. Okay, capital northern city. You kind of see that land. It looks kind of pretty. Jezreel is another place we're going to look at. This was a summer palace of Ahab. So we'll see Jezreel in the Bible. But that's kind of where they went for different places. Where do our presidents go? In their Camp David, Martha's Vineyards, places like that. Kind of the presidents go. Kind of where they would go for Jezreel. Okay. Another map here. We can see Sea of Galilee, Jordan River, Jerusalem. There's Samaria. Well, that's Jezreel. Okay, the valley of Jezreel is in the valley of Megiddo, the valley of Armageddon. There's a lot of stuff we'll see there. All right. Now, the northern kingdom, remember they made golden calves. And they set one in Bethel and one where? In Dan. Where's Dan at? Far north. They had one up north for the northern people, one down in Bethel for the southern people. So they kind of, because they didn't go all the way to Beersheba then, because they were just in the northern kingdom. So he set a golden calf in Bethel and Dan. I thought this was just kind of neat because right now you can go to Dan You can see this place where they probably set that golden calf at the temple, and you can see pictures of what they think it looked like, but there's an altar and probably a golden calf at Dan right there. There's the hill of Samaria. Who bought the hill? Ahab's father, Omri. I don't know how everybody pronounces it different. There's the hill right there. There's nothing there right now. That's what they think it was by looking at all the stuff. There was buildings and houses and walls around this hill. So that's what it could have looked like during the times of Ahab. Ahab built a summer palace in Jezreel, north of Samaria. So this is down in the plains right here, kind of a valley in Jezreel. There's Mount Tabor. Tabor College is named after that. Jezreel, Mount Gilboa, the Valley of Jezreel, the plain of Megiddo. You've heard of the Battle of Armageddon. It's going to take place in this valley between mountains.
College is actually named after.
Yeah. So just like that, that's where a lot of the colleges get the name. That's the places in the Bible. So, all right. So, new place we're learning here. We're going to look at Elijah then when he goes up to Mount Carmel and has this showdown. Okay, so Elijah went to show himself unto Ahab, and there was sore famine. So it started in Samaria. And Ahab sent unto all the children of Israel, and they gathered the prophets together unto Mount Carmel. So everybody's going up here to Mount Carmel. Now look where that's at. It's right by, what is this here? Mediterranean. Never heard of that river I drew wrong all the time? There it is. There's the right river, the Kishon River. So they went up to Mount Carmel, which is right on the sea on the western side. So that's where Ahab and Elijah are going to be. Mount Carmel. And the hand of the Lord was on Elijah. So they had this big showdown, and they had the prophet of Baal and the prophet of God, Elijah. And when Elijah just prayed, God sent fire down and licked up the whole altar, licked up everything. And then Elijah said, hey, look for rain. Can you imagine looking out over the sea and looking for a cloud? There was nothing. And 7 times he kept going. Finally, there was a cloud. So Elijah told Ahab, you better get home. So he's got to get home to Jezreel. And Elijah, he girded up his loins and ran before Ahab to the entrance of Jezreel.
So like pulling up the bridges.
Yes. So if they had like a robe on or something, pull that up so you just got pants on, you can run faster. So he got going. So you can see from Mount Carmel down to Jezreel, be kind of down this valley. But there was rain coming for the first time in 3.5 years. So there's Jezreel. All right, now this is a joke, but we have video of Elijah running because he beat Ahab, right? That's one of the fastest guys there is. So watch this. This would be like what Elijah did. Kick it. Can you imagine kicking yourself around the whole way? Who is that guy? Usain Bolt. So it's just funny that it's him on a soccer field and whipping everybody. He wasn't even as fast as Elijah. Here's the actual picture of Elijah. We got that photograph, right? But Elijah running before Ahab. You can look at the clouds in the background. So we can kind of remember this story that here's the capital was where? Samaria. So Ahab was in Samaria. Elijah came and he said, hey, let's have a showdown. I'll meet your prophets where? Mount Carmel. Mount Carmel. Okay. After God showed himself and there started to be rain, they ran down to Jezreel. So that's the 3 new ones here. Samaria, bought by Omri, where the capital of the northern kingdom was, Mount Carmel, and Jezreel. This body of water? This body of water? Man. Good. All right. So those are the 3 new ones from 1 Kings. Ooh. This is what I showed you earlier. So this is on like a big stone that people carved out the history of the kings of Assyria. So these are Assyrian kings. And this is, they write it below it, that this is Jehu, the son of Omri, which an Israelite. So this is Jehu, one of my favorite guys in the Bible. They have him, according to their history, Assyria, he came at one time and bowed down to their kings. This is my man Jehu I talk about all the time.
Jehu did that?
That's what the Assyrian kings say. This isn't in the Bible, but what this does is, because you know how Bible critics would say, well, there's no history, there's no evidence of a King Jehu or a King Omri, but you go to these other civilizations, and they call Jehu by name, Omri by name, and the way those foreign kings would always do, they exaggerate what would happen. Maybe Jehu just
Doesn't fit Jehu's character.
It doesn't fit his character, but that's who this is. This is a bad moment for Jehu if it really happened. But that's what they thought the Jews looked like, kind of right there. This little hat on thing, beards. So that's an Israelite. But Jehu, just going, I want to show you these pictures. Jehu, when he was anointed king, he went in a chariot. He went fast, drove furiously. That's how they could recognize him. But he went to Jezreel, because that's where Ahab's son, Jehoram, was at, who was king. And so he was going to go destroy. And so this is the valley towards Jezreel that we're looking at. You can see a long way off. You go like, hey, there's somebody coming. And they kept on sending out messengers to see this Jehu. There's an actual live view of, not live, but it was. But this is the valley of Jezreel. So this, they believe, he's standing where there's wine presses, like some old thing they can see are wine presses. They think this is Naboth's vineyard that Ahab tried to take from him. So this is below Samaria. But they think this is Naboth's vineyard. And from there, you can see across this valley, you can see Jehu coming all the way across. So pretty neat right there. That was just some problems there. Second Kings map. So now we're on the Second Kings map. And really what I want to look at here is in 2 Kings, we see the fall of Israel and the fall of Judah. They get conquered. Here's the fall of Israel, the northern kingdom. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria, took Samaria and carried Israel away into Assyria and placed them in Halah and Habor, where the river goes in and see the meats. So he took them away, and people talk about the lost tribes of Israel, and they were destroyed, they just assimilated, they never were again, like Gad and Asher and all these tribes. They lost their identity. So because they were taken captive by Assyria. So Assyria is up here. And that's the Assyrians who we saw that they said that Jehu was bowing down to. They had the beards and the hats, and they had a specific way. But they came down and they took Israel captive. So Israel fell to Assyria, and this happened in 722 BC, 722 years before Christ. So the new one here is knowing where Assyria is at. And there's a difference between Assyria and Syria. So Syria is a different nation than Assyria. Assyria dominated the world here about this time. So they took Israel captive, and they didn't just destroy them, they took them and took them back home with them. And then other people came and filled this land. And what happened when they came and filled the land? You guys remember? There's like lions and stuff that tore them apart. Like, we don't know what God is here. So they got some Jews to come help them when these people kind of settled Israel. It's an interesting story. But Israel was taken captive to Assyria in 722 BC. So Assyria is up here in the mountains. You remember the Fertile Crescent goes up and down here. So it's up here. Nineveh was the capital of Assyria. Where do we hear of Nineveh a lot? Jonah. That's the main place we hear of it. So Nineveh was a wicked place. Syria. So the northern kingdom of Israel fell to Assyria. Judah fell to Babylon. I won't read all this, but it says in the 5th month, on the 7th day of the month, 19th year of King Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came their captain of the guard, and he burnt the house of the Lord. He burnt the king's house. Every great man's house was burnt. They break down the walls of Jerusalem, and they carry them away. So when this happened, Babylon came and conquered Judah then. So Babylon came to Judah at 586 BC. So about 140 years later, the southern kingdom fell. So Israel falls to Assyria, Judah falls to Babylon. Why would they take it up by this route, up that way and down?
Avoid the desert.
Avoid the desert. So a lot of stuff makes sense now. We see there's the desert across it. So those dates you don't have to know, just interesting to know. Those are important dates that you'll hear a lot. So, 2 Kings, Israel fell to who? Assyria. Judah fell to Babylon. Remember Babylon, that's right there where we had Babel before. You can always think of them as the same. Babylon, same place. Okay, so that's what happened in 2 Kings. Let's go to 1 Chronicles. Alright, so 1st and 2nd Chronicles, just start thinking about the books. they cover the same information that 1st, 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings cover. So those 4 books from 1st Samuel to 2nd Kings, you'll get the same information, the same time period in 1st and 2nd Chronicles. Now 1st and 2nd Chronicles focuses more on which tribe or which kingdom. Southern. Judah. So 1st and 2nd Chronicles focuses on Judah. Why would Judah be a more important nation to follow?
That was the tribe of Jesus.
That's the tribe of Jesus. He's the lion of the tribe of Judah. And so it'd be important. So 1st and 2nd Chronicles is from a Judah point of view. We find more information. You get a lot of the same accounts, but you can add them together and find out even more what happened. But it's focusing on Judah, not very much on the northern kingdom. All right, this says in 1st Chronicles, then David put garrisons in Syria, Damascus. We're going to look up here at Damascus in Syria and learn where that's at. Here it's called Syria, Damascus. And the Syrians became David's servants and brought gifts. Thus the Lord preserved David with his sword he went. So if he put garrisons, what do you think that is? Forts, towns, store cities. If he put their strongholds up in Syria, Damascus. Okay, so we're up in Damascus. Up here's Dan. That's even farther out this way from Dan. Okay, now Syria, Damascus. Up here it's called what? Aram. I always wonder what Aram is. Why does it say Aram right there? So I looked up just this verse that we just looked. Right, it did the same book. And when the Syrians of Damascus came to help, David slew the Syrians and so forth. So looking at this Hebrew word for Syrians, if you click on that word, okay, you see that word is Aram. So Syrians and Aram both comes from the same word Aram. So when we see up here, Syria, Damascus, the Syrians, and this says Aram, that's because that's just going with the Hebrew word Aram, which means Syria. So I thought it was interesting because I didn't know. Do you ever hear the word Aram any other place? I'm just thinking, people believe that there was a language spoken during Jesus' day. What was it? Aramaic. So which comes from that. Aramaic would be from here, Aram, which is, Aram is what? Syria. So this helped me. I didn't know this before. So that's why I looked it up. So I wanted to share that with you. I didn't know Aram was Syria. Just like Esau is Edom. We know when we see they're interchangeable. Now we know anytime we see Aram or Aramaic, that's Syria. So Aram is Syria. That makes sense because Damascus is up here. So let's get through this one backwards again.
What's the time frame on that?
What's that?
The time frame for Aaron. That Aaron Syria area, you call it Aaron. Is that 700?
I mean, this is David. This First Chronicles is mostly David's time. So that's about 950 BC. 1950 BC. Okay, and so from First Chronicles, all I was seeing there was Damascus and Aram. And Aram is also called Syria. So on a map, if you want to put Syria, that makes more sense to you. Put Syria or Aram. I think it's important to know those. And Damascus would be the capital of Syria. Anybody know anything that happened in Damascus?
That's where Saul was converted.
Saul, Paul, right?
Yeah.
So Paul was on the road. Saul was on the road to Damascus. What was he going to do up in Damascus?
Kill the Christians.
Kill Christians. So 1,000 years from now, if this is 1000 BC, and Jesus is there after Jesus died, then there was Christians up here, and Saul was going to go kill them up in Damascus. That was in the Roman Empire, a totally different time. But Damascus, is this still around today?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Is Syria still around today?
Yes.
Yes, so this is still here. And wasn't there a leper that was a general from Damascus? What's his name?
Hezekiah.
Naaman. Naaman, the Syrian. And he came down to Elisha, but he was from up there. And he says, weren't the rivers of Pharpar and some other one? Those are rivers up in Syria. And so we see Damascus quite a few times in the Bible. Yeah, that's Samaria, and Aram is Syria. And so just adding those two. If you look at these things down here, remember Philistia? The Philistines. Who's the famous Philistine from Gath? Goliath. Moab. Who's somebody we know from Moab? Ruth. Ammon. What do we know about Ammon?
They medicine or something? Balm.
Balm and Gilead. Yeah, in Gilead. That's pretty close to Gilead. Gilead's right here, isn't it? So the Israelite part of it was Gilead. There's a balm in Gilead. I listen to that a lot. You sing it good. I listened to it this week and it sounded just like you.
Sing it again.
Boy.
But the Ammonites, where did Ammon come from? Where did it get its name? Who started that? Who is Ammon?
Son of Joseph.
Son of
Lot.
Lot and his daughter. Yep. So, all right. So the only two new things are Damascus and Syria, which is Arab. All right. In 2 Chronicles now, we get a lot about building the temple. And David didn't build the temple. David, though, arranged a lot of it. Why didn't David build the temple?
He's the man of war, he was a sinner.
That's right. So he didn't feel, well, actually, the prophet Nathan said, David, you can't build it. You can't because you're a man of war, all this stuff. And so Solomon, David's son, determined to build a house for the name of the Lord. And Solomon told out 70,000 men to bear burdens, 80,000 to hew in the mountain, 3,600 to oversee them. So there's a lot of men that are sent out on this project, which makes sense because once Solomon, after he was done being king, and Rehoboam, his son, was up there, they said, what did all the people say to Rehoboam?
Lighten the load.
Lighten the load. You can see this is a pretty good load, right? 'Cause Solomon had a lot of projects. And it sounds like he just said, hey, you men, you're going to go work this. You don't have a choice. And they had to go away from their families. They didn't have rotations. But it'd be just like saying, hey, all you guys in South Dutch, you go to Colorado to work, away from your families. And so Solomon was kind of a pretty much a slave driver type guy. And so when he was done, they're like, lighten the load. And Rehoboam said, I'll make it thicker, this guy. But it makes sense because he just got these men and said, you're going because we got a project, we want to build stuff. And that's what, remember Samuel told them, if they made a king, the king would just take people and say, go do this, go do that. They got a king now. So, Solomon sent to Huram, the king of Tyre. We've seen where Tyre's at, Tuck? We've seen Tyre. Can you picture in your mind where Tyre's at?
Kind of.
Where at? Describe it.
Below, it's below,
By, what's it right by? What body of water?
the Mediterranean.
The Mediterranean Sea. So that's good. If you can understand that Tyre is right on the Mediterranean Sea, that's very good. So, Huram, the king of Tyre, he said, thou didst deal with David my father, and had sent him cedars to build him a house of blood, even so deal with me. So Solomon sent to Huram, the king of Tyre. That's what we're going to look at. Huram, the king of Tyre. That's where Tuck was describing, wasn't it? Is that what you're thinking, Tuck?
Yeah.
Yep, right by the Mediterranean Sea. What's down here? What would be right there? Mount Carmel. So that's where the showdown was. So here's Tyre. What's above that? Sidon. Okay, this whole area is called Phoenicia. Okay, but so he went to the king of Tyre, and he said, there's mountains here. You can see mountains, the mountains of Lebanon. And he wanted to have some cedar sent to him. And so the king of Tyre, Huram, said, we will cut wood out of Lebanon. Is there still Lebanon today? Yep. We'll cut wood out of Lebanon as much as thou shalt need, and we'll bring it to thee in floats by sea to Joppa. What sea do you think, Tuck? They're going to float down wood in what? Mediterranean. So they're going to float wood down the Mediterranean Sea to Joppa, and then they can carry it to Jerusalem. First I thought we'd look at the mountains of Lebanon. The mountains up there, goes pretty high, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Snow-capped. Look at those things. So this is where they had cedars in the mountains of Lebanon. Look at that up there. There's cedars and pines. So I don't picture it being like that over there. I've never been there, so that's pretty. So they were going to cut wood out of the mountains of Lebanon up by Tyre, float it down the Mediterranean Sea to Joppa, and then carry it across the land of Jerusalem. Carrying big trees, cedars of Lebanon to Jerusalem. So we just get some more geography there, but we knew Tyre was up there. So that's the only new one right there is Tyre, and that should be over there. I don't know why I didn't drag it over there. So the new one here is Tyre, which we've learned already once, right? But that's where we got the cedar, floated down the sea to Joppa to build what in Jerusalem? The temple.
It's Solomon's home.
In Solomon's home. Yep. And they covered all that stuff with gold. So they had the wood inside covered with gold in. Why would you use cedar? What's good about cedar?
Doesn't rot.
Doesn't rot. Alright, so cedar smells good? It does, but it doesn't rot. You use cedar fences today because they'll sit out there, you don't have to treat them. Bugs don't get them, so it means they wanted the cedar, they didn't want the pine. Pine can rot pretty good, Tracy.
How wide was it from the Mediterranean to the,
To Jerusalem? Jerusalem. I bet you there's a scale right here, so if we're going,
40 kilometers?
so from there, about 40 miles, 35, 40 miles, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That puts it in perspective. Reno County is like 40 miles wide, so it's not that big, is it, this whole area? Yeah, it is. So you imagine they tied them together and made rafts out of it or something?
About 100 miles, probably.
Good. All right. So let us review from the beginning now. That's all the new stuff. There's really not a lot of new stuff today. So let's go back to the beginning. Major bodies of water. This one up here. Mediterranean Sea. We've seen this a lot. That one? Sea of Galilee. Here. Jordan River. Dead Sea. Who gave me a fact on the Dead Sea, how fast it flows to the drop on it?
The Jordan River drops 20 feet a mile.
So he said it drops 22 feet per mile here. So that's because the Dead Sea is the lowest place on Earth, elevation-wise, and we're up in the mountains here. So it's just, that's fast. 22 feet a mile, just all the time going down. So it has to drop down and down and down. All right. This is the overview of kind of the Genesis world. Let's look at bodies of water first. This is Tigris, Euphrates, Mediterranean, the Nile, the Red Sea. Good. All right, now we're looking at towns. Let's start down here. Or why would I start down here?
That's where Abraham started.
That's where who started?
Abraham.
Abraham. That's why I like going here. He would have passed by Babylon up to Haran. Down here is what? Remember that one? Bethel. So Bethel's an important place, especially in Genesis and stuff, but they put a golden calf there too. That is Jerusalem, into Hebron, Beersheba, which we actually talked about today. So some of these are repeat. Good job on that. Now we're going to look at Exodus. So in Exodus, the children of Israel, they're leaving what place? Egypt. So this river is Nile. What place did the Jews live in Egypt? Goshen. Lived in Goshen. They crossed the Red Sea. This is where Moses' father-in-law lived. He lived in Midian. Yep. Dalton preached about this morning about Jethro that lived in Midian. He was a priest of Midian. Those are those places down there. Now I think this is a review. That's what? Dead Sea. We go backwards. This river is Jordan. That's the Sea of Galilee. Mediterranean. Jerusalem. Yeah. I think repetition helps. So that's the way I memorize scripture. You memorize over and over, repeat it. So. Now we're in the book of Numbers. So in Numbers, we're going to see these different places that they had to go around. All right. So some review. Red Sea. This is where they came from. Goshen. That is the land of Midian. There's Jerusalem. That's Mediterranean Sea. But they had to go down around what land? Edom. The Edomites. There's a brother. Esau is Jacob's brother. They said, nope, you can't go around. They wanted to go by what highway?
King's Highway.
The King's Highway. We won't turn to the left or the right. We won't do anything. They said, nope, you got to go around. And what happened to the hearts of the people of Israel? The souls of the people of Israel was discouraged because of the way. They had to remember they had to go all the way down here. They're like, man, this is terrible. All right, Deuteronomy. So Deuteronomy, this is where Moses gets to see the promised land. And so we have Moab, or Edom down here. What's this the land of? Moab first. I think we're talking Moab right here. Ammons up above. So Moab, the sea. Dead Sea. Moses got to go on the top of Mount Nebo. So that's Mount Nebo. You can look across and see Jerusalem. This would be Jerusalem. That's Jericho. We got the Jordan River, the Sea of Galilee, Mediterranean. Alright, so that is, we went Edom in the book of Numbers. So I think the next one then is Moab as we move up. Alright, Joshua. So in Joshua, they cross the Jordan River, they start their conquest. Remember today we talked about Gilgal. That's the first place they went. We didn't learn that in the book of Joshua at this time. I skipped it. But they went from Gilgal, they circumcised and had Passover. They went and fought the Battle of Jericho. From there they went to Ai. From there they got tricked by Gibeon. Okay, and that's down the Valley of Ajalon is where they have the sun and the moon stand still. So we got Jericho, Ai, Gibeon. This lake up here, Galilee, Mediterranean, and Dead Sea. Judges. We have two accounts in Judges that we looked at. First, Jephthah. Jephthah, what was he? Where was he from? He went out to the land of Tob, which is out here. He was from Gilead. Gilead is over here. Okay, and so I think that's probably what that is, Gilead. And this would be Ammon, because the Ammonites fought against him. So he's from Gilead, and there's Ammon. This town here, Jerusalem. This one, Dead Sea, Jordan River, Sea Galilee, Mediterranean. We got those down. So, Jephthah was a Gileadite, fought against the Ammonites. Samson. So Samson, let's see here. What's this town there? Jerusalem. And down here were the Philistines, Philistia. So we remember Samson fought against the Philistines. That's how we brought in that area, the Philistines. We have the Dead Sea and Jordan River. So the only thing new here was the Philistia, the Philistines. What's the town about right here where Goliath is from? Yeah, good. Ruth was from Moab. And so they went across from what town? Bethlehem to Moab, and then they came back to Bethlehem. I think, that's where Ruth was out in Bethlehem. So this town here would be Jerusalem. Dead Sea, Jordan River. You got it. Good. All right, now we're to today's stuff. So, remember Saul. This is where he was the hero. Because the people of Ammon wanted to fight against the men of Jabesh, take out their right eyes. So they come to Saul in Gibeah. He gathers the men at Bezek. They fight the Gileadites, the Ammonites at Jabesh Gilead, and they come back to what place and make him king? Gilgal. So the only thing new there is Gilgal. This town is Jerusalem, and that's the city. So the only new thing here is Gilgal. Everybody good there? All right. David's numbering. Remember, David had that census. David wanted to know all these people. Sent from Jerusalem to Aurora, to Gilead, to Tatin Machi, then up to Dan, over to Sidon, down to Tyre, then all the way down to Beersheba. Good. Good job. Now, 1 Kings, we went over the account of Elijah and Ahab at Mount Carmel. All right, so they came from Samaria. Who bought Samaria? Omri, Ahab's dad. So they came down here, they went up here, had that showdown. God showed everybody who was God. Then there came a storm, and they ran down to Jezreel. Good. Sea of Galilee. Dead Sea. In 2 Kings. Anybody remember the year that Israel was taken captive? 722 BC. Israel was taken away, carried away by Assyria. Up there, good. And then at 586 BC, Judah was carried away by Babylon. Who was the king of Babylon at that time? Nebuchadnezzar. Who's one of the people we know was carried away by Babylon? Daniel. That's right. And Ezekiel was there too. So we got those people. Who was left here? Jeremiah. Jeremiah was left. So Jeremiah was older than Daniel, a little older than Ezekiel, but he was left here. But Daniel got carried away. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and also Ezekiel was over here. All right. First Chronicles. We just talked about. We learned these up here because David, he conquered these places. This town is called what? Damascus, and Damascus is the capital of Aram or Syria. So either one would work. Good. to build the temple, so he sent to the king of Tyre. And they got cedars out of Lebanon, floated them down to Joppa, took them across, we thought about 40 miles by animation to Jerusalem. Make sense? All right. Any comments, questions? Yes.
How would it make the houses and buildings?
I don't know.
Maybe you could dry mud or something like
They burned the border.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. Don't know a lot about building practices back then, so we'll get to it. Good question. All right, so hopefully the review is helping, and we're kind of just adding on a few that we didn't add on a lot of places, but it feels to me like your guys' knowledge of this area is getting a lot more. That's what we want, is to be able to kind of work our way around that map and kind of know where stuff's at. One last question. What is this area kind of called? If that area, this is not a trick question, just what is, if it's the Israelites are controlling it, it's the land of the what? On this side of the Jordan River. Gad was down here, we thought. Gad wouldn't have to try to ask, but people from this area, like Elijah.
Yep, Ammon.
Ammon's over here. Elijah was here. Jephthah, they were called what?
Gilead.
Gilead. So they were Gileadites. So in this land, Gilead right over here. Yeah, Tishbite's right there too. So Elijah was a Tishbite from, that was a town in Gilead. So this Gilead's right over there.
So how close to the river is Gilead? Because Ammon seems to be north and south of the Gilead area.
Yeah. In my mind, Gilead's still a region.
Okay.
Because there was different towns. There was Jabesh, Gilead was up here. You know, there's
So was Gilead more of a region and Ammon more of a people?
Ammon's a people, yes, exactly. So Gilead's a region of Israelites. And then Ammonites were a foreign people. And so whatever they could control at different times, you know, probably.
Okay, so sometimes they're more there.
Sometimes they are, depending on where they're at. But in general, we see Edom at the bottom, then Moab, then who?
Ammon.
Ammon, and then
Gilead.
that's it, yeah. I guess Syrians are up there. All right. Think. Next week, we're going to look kind of through the rest of the Old Testament. So we're going to spend 2 weeks on the New Testament, but this next week, week 4, is going to be from Ezra all the way to Malachi, picking out important places along the way and just adding to that map. And so please study those things. I haven't exactly decided what the final map, how it's going to look. It's going to be a reprint of all these things. I think that's a little too much. So I'll get you what the final map will look like. You can practice it. Go through that. So still kind of get in my mind how that final practice thing, the test is going to look. So this is a picture of somebody saying all these Israelites leaving Jerusalem. Nebuchadnezzar is burning. So where are they going? Babylon.
That was Judah, not Israel.
That's right, Judah. Which sometimes it's called the same. Once Israel's gone, then it's kind of back to being called either one. But yep, let's pray and we'll close.